place you do not know.
Thank you for joining us on our 56th episode. Thank you, Julia, for producing 6 episodes. Amazing. We have a couple of announcements today. The first one is that we now have a live index available to anybody on the internet, which reflects the previous episodes. And Elena, can you bring it up on the screen?
Well, you wanted me to show this first.
Right. You notice that it says, well, it should say tiny URL. There's an L missing.
Yes, there is.
Yes. So it's tinyurl.com/VFI educates.
Hold on,
If you type that in, tinyurl.com/VFI educates, that's one word.
Look at this one.
That will bring you to a website, and that website will contain the list of the 50-some episodes we've had. Can you bring that list up? There you go. So you'll notice that episode number, let's say the one in the middle, number 41, Tuesday, November 3rd. Well, all you have to do is click on the description, and that will take you immediately to episode 41. So it's a one-stop thing. I assume you just clicked on 41,
yep.
And it'll take us right to the YouTube, and there it is. So you can go through this long list, and you can make this website available to anybody. It'll show them what we've been doing and what Julia has been fooling around with for the last couple of months. Great. And that's episode 41.
Yeah.
Thank you, Steve, and thank you, Benjamin Netanyahu, and all of you, all the participants, and all the managers of the program. And yes, indeed, we will be meeting. Well, now we're meeting in Zfat, and then Tuesday it will be an amazing. I believe it will be an amazing presentation about the archaeology of Tel, which is the Philistine city of Gat. This is where Goliath is from. And we will be listening to Professor Aaron Meyer, who is, he is the leading archaeologist of the site. So speaking for myself, I'm looking forward to this presentation, and you're all invited, of course. And then we have a New Year's Eve off. And then next year, January, I will present the itinerary next week when it will be hopefully final. But already I can tell you that it will be mostly about women, and a lot of military women, a lot of combat women, a lot of just amazing women, okay? And some more amazing sites, which I plan to take you to. We will be back to Masada. We will be, well, for some people that will be back sometime, for some people will be for the first time. And this is Herodian. Steve, I believe you remember this place. Herodian is a fortress in the desert between Jerusalem and Bethlehem. And this is where the tomb of King Herod the Great is. And the reason why I want to take you there is, first of all, it's amazing anyhow, but also a few weeks ago, they finally opened a fraction which they were working on for years. And now Herodian has even more to offer to visitors, and we will be seeing the most updated excavations and displays in Herodian. And that's in addition to Masada and a few other places, so stay tuned. All right, having said that, welcome all, and I will start sharing my screen. As always, you're welcome to write on chat. I will be referring to the questions in the end. If there's something you really want to say right now, so please unmute yourself and say so. And enjoy the tour, and donations are appreciated. Okay. Okay, can you see my screen, guys?
Very good.
Yes? Very good. Okay, amazing. So, welcome to Zfat. Well, on this photo, it's already by night, even though we start by day, and then we will make it into the nighttime, which is the most beautiful for Zfat, but then at night, the synagogues are closed, and so we needed both hours. Zfat is the Hebrew pronunciation of the name of the town. The English pronunciation is Stafford, and this is why I included it. But Zfat is more important because, as always, the name has a meaning, and Zfat comes from the Hebrew word tzofeh, and tzofeh is a scout, but tzofeh is somebody looking at. And so when you call place a Zfat, you mean that you have a beautiful view from there, which is totally true, and you will see in a minute. And the reason why Zfat is so important, well, they have beautiful art, as you mentioned before. We have a beautiful artist colony, which is less active now, but normally it is there and highly recommended. But the main reason for people to be interested in Zfat, the main reason for people to live in Zfat is Kabala, the Kabbalah teaching, which is the secret Jewish teaching. I will not be able to tell you much about it, because in order to know much about Kabbalah, you have to be, well, listen carefully, you have to be male. Okay, that excludes quite a few people around here, including myself. You have to be at least 40 years old, which is okay for me and most of us. And you have to have children, all right? These are the three basic guidelines. In addition to that, you must be Jewish, all right? If you qualify for all of that, and if you find a teacher who will be willing to teach you Kabbalah, here you go. This is the traditional Orthodox approach. Today, you know, things change. And so today we have a center called Kabbalah La'am, which is the Kabbalah for the people, for the nation, which is open to everybody, including women and young people, etc. But the traditional, the Orthodox approach is Kabbalah is not for everybody, and we have these restrictions. And well, I will tell you a bit more later. And before we actually start walking around Zfat, and well, if you remember when we were talking about this specific presentation, which is Christmas night, I was asking whether you would like to go somewhere Christmas related in Israel, and you said no. And therefore I decided to go as far as possible from Christianity and Christmas, and this is Zfat. But yet, I mean, I could not just ignore it. So what you can see here is some Christmas decorations in Haifa, in the German colony downtown Haifa. And these guys on a Segway, they're driving down one of the streets of the Christian quarter in Jerusalem, and you can see the Christmas tree right behind them. And this is my favorite. This is the best by far. Have you ever seen Santa Claus riding a camel? Did you think that Santa Claus can ride a camel? Well, he can here in Israel, and he's riding a camel on his way home. He has a home in the Christian quarter in the old city. So having said that about Christmas, let's get to Zfat. Well, Zfat has it's amazing charm. Here on the left, you can see a clock tower, which is quite similar to the clock tower in Jaffa, similar to the one in Akko, similar to the one in Haifa. Okay, they all have to do with the same event, the beginning of the 20th century. And today we have a conference center and the community center in here. But this is, for most people, this is the first thing you see as you arrive to Zfat, and this is where we park our car. Okay, Ilana, you just asked where do you park? So we are parking right here. Okay, you pay about 5 shekels per hour till 4 p.m. It's not that bad. So as I was standing here and you know, looking for the best angle with this young couple, I went, "Oh, take a photo of me! Take a photo of me!" So I took their photo. Okay, they were very satisfied. And this is just a painting decorating a random wall. And this is another courtyard with a minaret. We will be back to this one later. So just, you know, the charm of Zfat. And as I said, Zfat is there and Zfat is significant because of Kabbalah. And so next question should be, why here? I mean, okay, Kabbalah is important, but why Zfat? Why not Jerusalem? Why not Tiberias? Why not whatever? And the reason is it's all about Mount Meron. That's what it's called. And this is the Mount, see, with the 2 peaks, 2 humps to it. And Mount Meron is so special because down here, I know that you cannot see it, it's too far, but believe me, it's here. This is where a little village called Meron is located. And inside this village, we have the tomb of a rabbi who is the founder of Kabbalah, even though it's not completely true, okay? What I want to say is it's all about Rashbi. Rashbi stands for Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, and the most famous event associated with Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is Lag BaOmer. Once a year, the Lag BaOmer holiday, hundreds of thousands. Last year, we were looking at 500,000 of Orthodox Jews coming to the tomb of Rashbi, which is here on the left, lighting fires, doing halakha, praying, dancing, spending 2, sometimes 3 days in a row. And that's because Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, who lived about 19 centuries ago during the Roman period, he was the one who wrote 22 books. Okay? This is a tradition. Okay, we don't really have those books, but tradition says that as he was escaping from the Romans, he spent 13 years, just him and his son Elazar, in a cave in a little Galilean town called Canaan. And, well, he had 13 years in a row to write the Kabbalah, okay, to write the secret knowledge which is coded and hidden in the Bible. What Kabbalists believe is that, you know, nothing is invented, nothing is new. Everything was given by God to Moses on Mount Sinai. So Moses received the 10 Commandments. He received the 5 books of Moses, but he also received the oral Torah, okay? The understanding, the secret meaning which is in the Bible. And that secret meaning and secret knowledge was transferred, was given from one person to the other, from a teacher to a disciple, for generations and generations to come. Now, later, in the 2nd century AD, part of this knowledge, part of this understanding was written down, and this is the Mishnah. Okay, Mishnah is actually part of the oral Torah being recorded, but part of this oral Torah was never written down because you are not allowed to do that. This is too secret, this is too precious, this is too powerful, and only Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai wrote it down in 22 books because each book stands for one of the letters of the Hebrew alphabet. All right? Okay. And then these books disappeared because God didn't want them to stay with us. It was probably too dangerous for us to have this knowledge which gives you so much power. And only in the medieval times, one of these books, one only, was revealed again and written down again by God's will by another rabbi. And this book is called Zohar, if you ever heard the name. Zohar means shining, means glory. And that book of Zohar is the fundamental book of Kabbalah. And so whoever is interested in Kabbalah, whoever is attracted by Kabbalah, wants to be as close as possible to the author, to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, to Meron. And therefore, the Kabbalists live in Zfat, because this is the closest town. And that's the case since the 16th century. Now, the celebration, if you ever been to the celebration of Lag BaOmer at Meron, you'll never forget it. But I will just say that the whole thing starts at a house, which is in Zfat. It's called the House of Abu. Abu is the last name of the owner of the family. And that family donated an ancient and very special Torah scroll, which is carried all the way from Zfat to Meron, and then the celebration starts. So Zfat is Zfat because it's overlooking Mount Meron. Well, Ilana and others, here on the right, this is the main street with all these galleries. As you can see, everything is closed, nobody is here. But this is the main one. This is where you go shopping, okay? This is where you don't want to listen to your tour guide. This is the place. It's called Yosef Karo Street. So since there's nothing here for us, we will start walking downstairs, and Zfat is built on a slope of a mount called Canaan. So in Zfat, you normally walk either downstairs or upstairs, downstairs, upstairs. And this street is among the very few ones which is straight, okay? So we start walking downstairs, and the cat didn't like our approach. You see this cat escapes. The other cat believes that it's okay, but soon it will. Okay, yeah, no, we are too many. How many are we now? I don't know. How many? Oh, yeah, 82 people. Well, that's too much. So we are walking downstairs. As you can see, things are very old, really need to be repaired. This guy is escaping us just like the cat. You can see the balloons. I mean, people actually live here. Zfat sometimes has this feeling, just like the old city of Jerusalem, like a museum. People often ask me, do people actually live here? So yes, definitely, people actually live here. And even though it is very inconvenient, I mean, just imagine carrying your shopping downstairs, upstairs, carrying your children upstairs, downstairs. It is very cold. It gets snow every year, but this is such a special place for them. So they will, they will trade it for nothing, just like the Jewish quarter. So we walked downstairs in this tiny little alley, and then we took a right, and we made it to this amazing place. You see, I did not walk in because when I made it there, people were, you don't see them here, but they were praying, so I didn't want to disturb them. But you can see this blue door, this locked blue door, and occasionally, if you're lucky to see it open, so then inside there is a little synagogue, and from that synagogue, from inside the synagogue, you can take a right, and then you will see a cave. This cave is called the cave of the Megid. Megid is the speaker. Lehagid is to say. So this is the cave where one of the greatest rabbis of Zfat, Rabbi Yosef Karo, would be sitting and listening to this voice of God. He was probably having a seance, sort of, but he could hear a voice, and that voice gave him information which was written down later by him in a book called Megid Meisharim, one of the fundamental books of Orthodox Judaism. And Rabbi Yosef Karo also wrote a book. Again, if we have any Orthodox Jews in our audience now, so he wrote the Shulchan Aruch. For the non-Orthodox, Shulchan Aruch is the basic guidelines of the daily behavior. How should you behave to be a good Jew? Okay, you cannot read the whole Mishnah and Talmud. You need something simpler. So that simpler thing is called Shulchan Aruch, and it was written by Yosef Karo, right here. And right here somewhere, another great rabbi, Shlomo El-Kabetz, wrote a piyut. Piyut is a poetry, which I believe we all know. Okay, so let's listen just for a few seconds. Can you hear it? Can you hear?
It's a weird sound right now. I'm definitely not hearing Lecha Dodi by Carlbach.
No, it's not working.
Guys, can you hear it?
No.
No?
No.
Okay, maybe I did not join with the, wait a minute, I will stop sharing because I really want you to hear it. Wait, I'm trying to stop share. Let me stop share. Wait a minute. The Zoom doesn't cooperate. Just a minute.
I can knock you off share for a second if you want.
Okay, great. Yeah. Go ahead. It's Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach and what's going on?
He didn't knock it off. I don't know
Ladies
why.
and gentlemen.
Local.
Huh?
Okay. Why don't you try again?
Okay. No, it's well, okay. So maybe
You also have to hit, the share sound, those two little buttons on the bottom of the share screen before you press go.
no, the problem is that everything is I don't know what's going on, but it just doesn't cooperate. Okay.
Julia, you're frozen too. Like your picture's frozen. So
I know. My Zoom doesn't work. Okay. What do you see now, ladies and gentlemen? Well, I think now I should be able to. No.
Very clear picture
What do you
showing
see?
a very clear picture down steps.
Okay, all right. So let's just continue, and then maybe later I will be able to let you listen to Shlomo Carlebach. Okay. Anyhow,
I've got it on my phone. I can put it on the phone and then hear it.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah,
I can see the picture.
Yeah,
This is exactly what I wanted you to hear. Great. Thank you, Pamela. All right, that's it. Pamela, okay, that's enough.
Okay.
Thank you.
Wait. Okay. Mute me.
Thanks. Okay, great. Thank you. So, guys, am I right that you all know the song of Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala? This is something people sing for Shabbat at Friday night for so many generations. And I don't know if you ever realized, but it was written in Zfat. It was written in Zfat some almost 500 years ago, and we keep singing it ever since. Oh.
I think some mystical things are happening here.
Yeah, probably.
You're frozen again, and it looks like share screen might be frozen also.
Yeah. So anyone under 40 who's not a man and Jewish apparently needs to get off of this for it to work.
Okay, take care of that, Alana.
All right. Well, I'm gonna have to go. So.
Oy vey. Let's see.
She might have to send it to me and then I'll do it again.
I'm gonna. There's really nothing I can do here.
No, I think we gotta wait for her.
Okay.
I can
Thank you for your patience, folks.
I will WhatsApp her.
I think we might have lost Julia. Do you see Julia on the screen?
No, I think we lost her.
Yeah, I think she lost her connection, and that probably was a precursor. So let's just stand by. She will check.
I am back. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, great. So let's try again. I don't know, something was, I lost you. Okay, now I'm sharing my screen and let me just get back to where we were. And that was after the cat, right? We were done with the cat and we were right here and here we are. Okay, do you see the same staircase as before?
Yes.
Yes. All right, so we keep walking. And as we keep walking, we make it to a little synagogue, which is always closed. I don't think anybody was ever inside. This is the blue door here you can see on the left, which is locked, okay? And inside this synagogue, which is called the Hatzadik Halavan, okay? The white Tzaddik. Tzaddik is the righteous, of course. And inside this synagogue of the white righteous, this is where the very special and very ancient Torah scroll is kept in between Lag BaOmer. So every year, Lag BaOmer afternoon, a delegation comes to the synagogue, they unlock the door, they take the Torah scroll, they bring it to the house of Abu family, which donated it, and then they start walking. Now, in the past, they would walk all the way from Zfat to Meron. Today, they're too lazy to do that, so now they drive a car. But it is still a very beautiful, very, exciting procession. So this is the white righteous synagogue. It's the guy is called white righteous because the tradition says there is a legend about many, many years ago. The ruler, the Ottoman ruler, wanted the Jews to give him 300 white hands, and they did not have 300 white hands. So the Tzaddik told him, oh, don't worry about that. Just bring me all the hands you have, all colors, doesn't matter. And then there was a magic, and they all became white. So the righteous is known as the white righteous.
Julia, why a blue door?
Yeah, now, as you can see, that's exactly what I wanted to say. You will see quite a lot of blue color. You see this blue window and blue here and blue there. The blue color is the color of the sky, okay? And this is why I placed this photo here. There is a very old fairy tale, if you wish, okay, which is accepted mostly by Muslims, okay, but Jews were a minority living among the Muslims, and so the belief penetrated. The demons, the evil spirit, they live underground and they live in darkness, and so they're afraid of the blue sky, they're afraid of the blue color, and so if you paint things blue, that will keep the evil spirits away. And on top of that, if you look at Cyprus, if you look at Greece, you will see plenty of white and blue. This is just the traditional color of the Mediterranean. And it was lost in other places in Israel, even though we know that, for example, Old Jaffa used to be white and blue, just the same way. In Zfat, this tradition stayed. So we keep walking in between the blue and white walls, well protected from the evil spirit. And we are on our way now from the white Tzaddik synagogue to the next synagogue, which is normally open. Now it is unfortunately closed, but this is one of the most famous and greatest synagogues in Zfat, and this is the Abu Hab synagogue. So we keep walking. Everything is, by the way, now when there are no tourists and they have more time, so many walls were repainted. And actually, Tzfat looks better than you may recall. So this is the gate leading into the courtyard of the Abu Hab synagogue. And to begin with, I thought that it is locked. And so I was trying to see just to peek in between the bars, but then I had a brilliant idea, so I pushed the door and it opened. So since that's what happened, so now we are standing inside this courtyard of the Abu Hab synagogue. Unfortunately, even though I tried to push the door was locked. We cannot make it inside. So what we can see is this wall. This wall is the southern wall. This is the wall which is directed toward Jerusalem. And by a miracle, it was not ruined during the earthquake, which ruined most of Zfat in the 19th century. So this wall is here, and the rest of this wall is inside the synagogue. So again, we're talking about the southern wall, which is very important, because in Zfat, which is up north, the southern wall is where you put the Holy Ark. This is where you keep the Torah scroll. So there was a miracle. It did not suffer from the earthquake. So this is what the synagogue looks from inside now. You see this plastic here and the plastic here. This is the COVID-19 separation, okay? The idea is that part of the people will be praying on this side and the other part will be praying on the other side, and the virus will not make it in between, okay? I don't know if it was agreed by the virus, but this is how it is. And they open the synagogue only for the prayers, and then you're not supposed to be inside. So these are the best photos I could do through the window. Here on the right and below, you can see a very special chair, okay? And on the right, there is something which looks like a cradle attached to the chair. Do you know what this chair is for? Are you familiar with such a chair? Yeah, Ilana? Okay.
Yeah, who's holding the baby, the person holding the
Exactly. This is the chair of Prophet Elijah. So when the baby is 8 days old and you bring him to the synagogue for the brit, so the sandak, the godfather, will be sitting here holding the baby, and then there is a cradle when he can put the baby after the circumcision. So this is the chair of Prophet Elijah. And this particular one, because it is in such a special synagogue, and so it is believed that if you don't have a son and you want to have a son, all you need to do is to come here, sit on that chair, and it will be a miracle. Okay, so I don't know how about that, but maybe. And since Abu Hab is one of the greatest Kabbalists ever. He never made it to Zfat, by the way. He lived and passed away in Spain. But the tradition said that this synagogue was actually originally built in Zfat. And after the disciples of Abu Hab moved to Zfat, so the synagogue moved following them, okay? And therefore it is known as the Flying Synagogue. It is a very special, mystical, Kabbalistic synagogue, and inside that synagogue we have the Echad Mi Yodea coded. Echad Mi Yodea is something we sing for Passover, right? Echad Eloheinu, Shnayim Luchot Habrit, Shalosh Shlosha Avot, etc. So we have the whole thing in that synagogue. Okay, how come? Well, look at that. See, we have one central dome standing for the God. We have the two staircases to the Bima, standing for the tablets of the covenant, and then we have three holy arks standing for the fathers, etc., etc. Okay, so this is a special synagogue for Passover and general speaking. Now, in the synagogue, we have a very, very special and holy and pure Torah scroll, which is called kasher. Okay, kasher is kosher, of course, but every Torah scroll is kosher. But this particular one is believed to be written by Abu Hab himself. And because Rabbi Abu Hab wanted it to be so special, so he went to a mikveh, okay, and dipped himself 26 times in a row before writing the name of God in the Torah. Therefore, it took him many years, but the Torah scroll is so special and so pure that it is used only 3 times a year. That's it. The rest of the time, it is locked in the Holy Ark. And the 3 special times of the year Yom Kippur, and Shavuot, and Rosh Hashanah. Therefore, it is called kasher. Okay, the most special, mystical Torah scroll. And then as we walk out from the synagogue, this is what we see. Ruins on top of ruins, on top of a mess, and on top of all that, we can see Mount Meron once again. And now we walk upstairs, okay? And we are on our way back upstairs to this main street with the galleries, without the galleries. And again, you can see the vegetation, you can see an open door, you can see, well, there is an Orthodox gentleman who did not want me to take his photo, and a little bench, which is blue, again, a cat on the right, which doesn't care about Kabbalah, a recent adding that was not here before the pandemic, again, painted blue, a little courtyard with some decorations. I mean, it has so much charm, and I hope you can see. And people who live here, they're longing for redemption. You know, it's just, these are random photos I took just down the street. Bizchut ha'oskim b'sefer hazohar yavo HaMashiach. That means, thanks to those studying the book of Zohar, the Messiah will come. And here it says again, the Zohar. You have to study the Zohar. If there will be enough people studying the Zohar, that fundamental book of Kabbalah, so Messiah will come. Zfat is all about Messiah. But before Messiah comes, you want to make a living. And therefore here on the right, you can see the Abu Hab winery. Remember the day before yesterday, Guy was talking about the Abu Hab winery among other wineries. So here it is, right here. So as you walk from one synagogue to the other, waiting for Messiah, you're welcome to sample some wine. And here we are back to Yosef Karo Street. This is on one side, this is on the other side, nobody and nothing. And now we're entering one of the most beautiful, my favorite spot in Zfat, and this is called the Fig Tree Courtyard. Obviously, it is named after the fig tree. You can see the fig tree here on the left. This is the tallest fig tree in Israel. I don't know how about the world, but it's not that thick, but it is just amazingly tall. And the reason why it is so tall is because the roots are inside that cistern down here. And this is a cistern which was used by the locals to collect the rainwater before Zfat was connected to the running water system. And upstairs here on the left, this is a Kabbalah center. And here on the right, this is the Canaan gallery. If you're looking for a talith, if you're looking for a challah cover, if you're looking for a tablecloth, this is where you can get it. And they make it upstairs in here on the left. It's a bit difficult to see, but they didn't want to open it for me because again, there are no customers now. But this is the loom, and this is where they make this handmade taliths and kippas and challah covers and filling covers, etc., just the way they did 500 years ago. And then we keep walking upstairs, and finally we make it to the best roof in town, just the best one. And from that best roof, you can see 360 degrees. And once again, you can see Mount Meron. I mean, you cannot escape from Mount Meron, but there's no reason for you to escape. And at the same time, if you look down there, you can see once again the main street with the galleries. And you can see here some white tables, and that means that it's about time for us to have a lunch break. We are on our way to have lunch break. But before that, fortunately, this young couple, you can see them sitting down here and having a conversation. They opened this liquor and whiskey shop just before the pandemic. It's a beautiful place. Unfortunately, they have no customers. So I told them that whenever we have you guys back, I will bring you to this place because it's really beautiful. It's really artistic, and it's right on the way between, well, the Fig Tree Courtyard, lunch, and the next synagogue we're going to visit. So that's what it looks like. I don't know. I didn't try the whiskey. They told me that it's awesome, amazing, made in Catherine at the Golden Heights. So more art. And this is a Kabbalistic art. You can see the spheres here. You can see the Zohar, the glory of God. You can see some Hebrew letters. There is a lot of Kabbalah, not just teaching, but also art in Zfat. Whenever you're back, there are some Kabbalah artists which give workshops and presentations about the Kabbalah art. It's really, really fascinating. So you should be back. And lunch break. There is a beautiful place, really delicious. Here you can see it on the left. And these guys, they're Yemenite, and they make something which is a combination of a Yemenite pancake, which is called lachuch, with a pizza. Okay, they basically take a Yemenite pancake, which they make on spot, which is totally tasteless. And then they add different cheeses, different spices, different vegetables. They wrap it. It's just amazing. Okay, so you must try that. And not far from there, there is a cheese making place which makes the famous Zfat cheese, which is here, which is very soft and a bit salty. It's great. Okay, so Zfat cheese, Yemenite lachuch, and we're ready to continue. From the lachuch place, we walk upstairs once again, and we are on our way to the next synagogue, the other synagogue, which is usually visited by tourists. And fortunately, this time it was open for us. We have some nice ladies. They are wearing skirts, but it's not compulsory. And you're going to this synagogue, which is known as the Ali Ashkenazi Synagogue. But the synagogue was built relatively late. I mean, the synagogue itself was built in the 19th century, while prior to that, this was an orchard of apples, an apple orchard. And the apple orchard in Aramaic is chakal tapuchin kadishin. Chakal is a field or an orchard in Aramaic. Tapuchin, like tapuchim, apples. Kadishin, like kdoshim, means holy. So the plantation of the holy apples in Kabbalah, this is synonymous to the Garden of Eden. And so if you imagine that nothing is here, no people, no walls, no synagogue, which is here on the right, we are standing in a beautiful apple orchard overlooking Mount Meron. And this is where the founder of Kabbalah, as we know it today, Ha'ari, okay, the lion, and his disciples, his cubs, were welcoming Shabbat every Friday. So, just imagine a beautiful apple orchard, a bit similar to Steve's background, probably, and men wearing white, facing Mount Meron and praying for Messiah to come. Okay, do you have that picture in your mind? I hope so. And then in the 19th century, as Zfat grew bigger, a synagogue was built here, which was dedicated to Ha'ari, and it is called Ha'ashkenazi because this is where the Ashkenazi community would pray and do the worship. So this is what it looks like here on the left. This is the door, and the door was opened for us, and now we are inside the synagogue, and this is what you see. Okay, you can see the beautiful, one of its kind holy ark right here with the Torah scroll. You can see the bima. It has a special story to be told soon. Okay, the bima is right in the center of the synagogue. It has a beautiful dome. Again, everything is white and blue as it should be. Nobody was in the synagogue when we entered because the prayers are outside of the synagogue. Here it says you are not allowed to speak during the prayers and the reading of Torah. And finally, we made a full circle, and now we're looking from inside the synagogue outside, and you can see these men facing left, facing south, facing Jerusalem during their mincha prayer. So just a few details of the synagogue. You can see here on the right, this is the tomb of Rachel on the door, on the wall. You can see the western wall, the kotel, as it looked before 1967, just a very narrow street. I mean, here on the right, this is the wall, and here on the left, this is a private Muslim house. This is what the kotel looked like before the 6 Days War. So if you remember this big open square, it was totally different not that long ago. The beautiful handmade wood carving of the Holy Ark. And here you can see the two hands of the blessing of the priest, Birkat HaKohanim. Here on the window, these are the 10 spheres. This is too deep into Kabbalah. And finally, here on the left upper corner, you can see a lion. Can you see that lion? And that lion has a weird looking face. Well, I hope you can see that. That's on top of the Holy Ark. And the story is that the Holy Ark was made by a Christian artist. And the Christian artist decided that, well, we're talking about a synagogue. We have to have Moses there. So he made Moses. But as we know, we're not supposed to have people whatsoever in a synagogue. And so at the very last moment, Moses was remade into a lion. Why lion? Because the Lion of Judah, and more so because the greatest rabbi we are talking about, his nickname is Ari. Ari is a lion, and he is called Ari because he was referred to as Eloki Rabbeinu Yitzchak, the divine Rabbi Isaac. So that's how we have this lion inside a synagogue. And well, here on the left, you can see the door, and right in front of the door, this is where the bima is. And right here where you see this arrow, there is an opening. And here on top of the opening, it says Nes Harasis, the miracle of the shrapnel. During the Independence War, the door was open, the prayer was on, and then a piece of a missile, a shrapnel, got into the synagogue, and there was a Jew praying at that very moment. And at that very moment, the Jew just lowered himself. He was bowing, and then the shrapnel went on top of him. So you can see this Jew praying now, literally, well, not now, yesterday, but now for us. And this is exactly what people did for centuries in a row. And this is how one of them was saved. So this opening is kept and preserved, as you see, and it's believed to be the proof of the power and miracle of God. And people are praying. Yeah, And once again, this is the view from there where they are praying. They were praying the whole mincha outside, and it was very special to listen to them, being inside a synagogue while they're outside. And right next door to Ali Ashkenazi Synagogue, we have something totally different and beautiful. And this is the Stafford Candles Gallery. I hope you've been there. If you've been to Zfat, the most beautiful and colorful. There is more than just candles. There is a whole display of works of art. This is Noah's Ark, of course. It is a candle. I mean, the whole thing is a candle. It's not for sale, it's for display, but a candle. And Orthodox chest made of wax. And David and Goliath made of wax. And Samson, the hero, of course. But it's not just about Bible. We also have something more modern for kids. Okay, robotics. And on top of all, we have the temple on the Temple Mount, and again, it is a candle. Not far from there, we have the Alley of Messiah, and old tradition tells us that Messiah came directly through this tiny little narrow alley, and an old lady was waiting for the Messiah with a cup of tea every evening till she passed away. A true story. Her name was Yocheved. So we're still waiting for Messiah. And well, we cannot skip COVID-19 even in Zfat. You see here on the left, it says Da'at Torah, Odot HaChisunim Neged Corona. The bottom line says that it is very dangerous for you to take the vaccine. You should not do that. Don't you dare taking a vaccine, which is very problematic, of course, because we have about 15% of Orthodox population. I'm not saying that all of them will agree to this, but it is a very, very problematic thing, and it is present all over Zfat. So that's one thing I saw, and right here in the middle, it says the horrible truth behind the the COVID pandemic, and you're welcome to call this number to hear the horrible truth about it. And right here, this is the Vaccination Center. So yeah, we hope more people will take vaccines rather than people reading this announcement, but we will see. It's getting dark now. We are almost done with our presentation. This staircase used to be the border between the Jewish neighborhood on the left, the one we came from, and the Muslim neighborhood we are going to walk around now, which is on the right. You see, this is the mosque. This is the mosque we could see in the beginning. Zfat became 100% Jewish after the Independence War. The Arab, the Muslim population escaped. Some of them moved to other towns, others became refugees. The most famous refugee from Zfat is Abu Mazen. Abu Mazen is the current leader of the Palestinian government. He was born right next to this mosque. So, if you will, one of the cornerstones of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is in Zfat because of Abu Mazen himself. Since there are no Muslims and the mosque is not functioning, so the mosque is an art gallery now, and we have more art galleries in the former Muslim quarter, which is beautiful to walk around, and this is what we're going to do. Just a few photos of beautiful Zfat by night. I could not have enough of it, and even though by now I was frozen, but it was too beautiful. This is the square of the spring. You see these stairs downstairs leading to where the spring used to be, one of the sources of water for Zfat. Now it's dry, and more of Zfat by night, and more. I told you I could not have enough. I mean, I hope you can see the beauty, the romance, the charm of it. I definitely can. And as I was walking around, all of a sudden all right. Well, so as I was walking around, all of a sudden I heard this, and then I just walked towards the sound, this is a center for something they call Eastern music, and they were just, making rehearsals. So I was standing, I can share the sound with you, I can share the sight with you. What I cannot share with you is the very, very strong smell of weed, which covered the whole area as I was standing there. So this is something we cannot share. I hope, I don't know, I hope either the Zoom will improve and we can share smell, or the pandemic will be over and then you can join me in Zfat, whatever. All right. Now, well, now we have two options. One is getting back to the car. Remember, this is where we parked our car. This is the clock tower. This is what it looks like by night. Beautiful. So it's either getting back to the clock tower and back to the car, or staying in this hotel, which is much better option, called Zfat, one of the oldest hotels, wonderful one. Now it belongs to Dan chain of hotels. It used to be a municipality of Zfat centuries ago. It has parking lot inside. Highly recommended. And then we can keep walking around. And I would like to finish this tour with these two sculptures made by a very famous Jewish artist. His name is Miki Imber. He had a very difficult life. He is a Holocaust survival, but he had hope. And this statue on the right is called Hope. A young lady with a little baby, and I don't know. I believe this is the best way to finish the presentation, along with this sculpture on the left, which is made by the same artist. It's called The Wandering Jew. But somehow he's not sad. He's actually hopeful. And I hope we will be able to wander and travel as soon as possible. So let's hope for a better new year. And thank you for watching. And I hope to see you next year, Zoom before reality. So,
Thank you so much.
we're done.
Julia.
Pardon?
This was wonderful.
Hey, Marilee. Hey.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Have you been to Zfat, Marilee?
I have a couple of times, right?
Okay. Well, isn't it great? Isn't it beautiful? Have you been there by night?
When I move, I will have more time to devote to it.
Sure. No, and you have to stay overnight. Well, guys, we have quite a few things on chat, so let's see. Maybe we have questions. Howard said, I don't think there's anyone under 40 on this call. Well, probably
And I said
not.
me, but not by
Oh yeah,
election.
Ilana, right. Well, I was about to say, I guess Ilana, but anyhow, I mean,
But
since
only by
it
this
is
much.
restricted to men only, so we cannot start studying Kabbalah the Orthodox way. Okay, yeah, blue protects you from the evil spirit in Greece and everywhere else. We visited Yosef Karel's synagogue a few years ago and did a Ma'ariv, Minyan. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
There was a question from
The question about the gniza is at the back of the sanctuary covered with plexiglass. If they eventually get buried, well, I'm not sure about that, but actually burying the damaged Torah scrolls is a tradition, but it's not a compulsory one. I mean, we have very, very old gnizot The most famous one is in Cairo, the Cairo Gniza, which are not a burial place, but it's just an area like in Cairo. It's the whole attic. In the synagogue in the village where I live, they don't bury it. They have a special like box to put the damaged Torah scrolls. You don't necessarily have to bury them. So I don't know specifically about Yosef Karo synagogue, but it's okay if they did not. Are most synagogue bima in Zfat raised as this one? Yes, actually, most bimas in synagogues are raised. Sometimes as tall as this, sometimes less. It is more common for the Sephardic synagogue, at least in Israel. But yes, the elevation is no special.
Thank you.
Did the British build? You're welcome. Did the British build the staircase in the 1930s? Well, they renovated it, but as far as I remember, the staircase existed prior to that, and then it became a sort of a separation, like shortly before the war. Actually, after. Wait, I'm looking for the chat. I lost it. Oh yeah, after the partition plan, because prior to that, Jews and Muslims they got quite well along together, and then after the partition plan, the conflict started.
Can you tell us the story of the Vidka?
The story of what?
The Vidka.
The story. Well, actually, I didn't tell you anything about the Independence War, but yes. The Davidka is sort of a cannon, very small, very primitive, but it made a lot of noise. And so when the Davidka was used in Zfat, it was a coincidence, but when they used the Davidka, there was also a thunderstorm. And the noise of the combination of the Davidka and the thunderstorm, they made the Arabs really, really scared. I mean, later, people describe that they felt like the God is against them. The God is helping the Jews, and this was one of the reasons why Arabs escaped from Zfat. And there was actually Zfat was taken over by Eldad Peled, but there was almost no real fight. So
I had heard that there was a rain afterwards, and there was a black rain. And after Hiroshima, there was a black rain, and the Arabs were so afraid that the Jews had the nuclear bomb, the atomic bomb, that they ran away.
Well, this is another version. I never heard it, but maybe. I mean, there was something very different and very dramatic about this night, about this storm. So maybe they thought of Hiroshima. I never heard this description.
That's what I had learned.
Yeah, but maybe. I mean, maybe, definitely possible. What else? Stuart, I sounded like you said it smelled like weed. Yes, that's exactly what I said. I was trying to say that they were smoking marijuana, and actually they were smoking enough of it so the whole area around the building will smell like what I said. It is illegal in Israel yet, but yes, people smoke. Okay.
Is it legal medically?
Pardon?
Is it legal medically like it is here?
Yes. Yeah. Definitely. It is legal medically, and actually, the easier it is for one to get a prescription. I mean, nowadays, you can get a prescription for medical weed for no matter what you have. You can get medical weed, and then normally people get more weed than they actually need, and then they share. So this is the most abandoned thing probably in Israel, except of Za'atar. Lisa said the Lebanese sandwich was great. Well, it was not Lebanese, it was Yemenite, but it was great. Okay. It is so much better in reality, guys. You don't even imagine. Are Israelis getting COVID vaccine shots, and what part of the population? Well, yes, we just started vaccination 2 days ago. Last time I checked, we vaccinated around 20,000, something like that. Okay, it's supposed to improve soon. Right now, the medical personnel and people over 60 years old are supposed to get the vaccine. When the older you are, the earlier you're supposed to get the vaccine. So people are, they like, my father-in-law got a phone call. He is 81 years old, so he got a phone call yesterday, and he already had his appointment. And the plan is that before March, 20% of the population will be vaccinated, assuming that people will be willing to get the vaccine, which is not that obvious, but hopefully. Well, I think that's it. Do we have any more questions? Panels that many more than that have been vaccinated. They're doing more than 50,000 a day. Well, I don't know. This is what I saw on the news, but maybe this is not an updated information. This is the last information I saw, but if Pamela said it's 50,000, so that's great. I mean, the more the better. I agree. Beit Abu, explain. Not sure. What should I explain? Esther, if you're still with us, would you? Well, I'm not sure. Probably Esther is not with us any longer. So, yeah.
The call.
Hear me? Esther, yes, I can hear you.
Esther, you're muted.
Now you are muted again.
Okay, you mentioned Bet Abu, and
Right.
I don't remember what you said about it.
Okay. What I said about it is that there is a wealthy, well-known family. Their last name is Abu, okay? And a couple of centuries ago, they donated an ancient, precious Torah scroll. And this Torah scroll is carried every year to Mount Meron, to the tomb of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. And this Torah scroll, when it arrives to the tomb, actually opens the celebration of Lag BaOmer at the tomb of Rashbi. So that's the story of the family. And this is, in a way, they're responsible for the connection between the community of Zfat and the tomb of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, who wrote the book of Zohar, which is the source of Kabbalah.
Does that still live there?
Esther, I cannot hear you.
Why not?
Okay, speak up.
What?
Speak up.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
I can hear you.
Is that family still living there? The Abu
Yes.
family?
Yeah. They still live there. I mean, it's a huge family. They have, lots of offspring. So there are Abu living elsewhere as well. But yes, there is the house, and it belongs to the family. And one of the offsprings of the family lives in Zfat, in Beit Abu, the house. Beit Abu means the house of Abu, right?
I'd like to mention something else. You didn't speak about the cemetery in Zfat.
Right.
It's a very well-known cemetery, and my great-grandfather is buried there.
Wow. Okay. Yes, sure. I mean, there are quite a few things I didn't mention just because we had 1 hour, but of course, the cemetery where your great-grandfather is buried and where Ha'ari is buried and quite a few other great rabbis and along with victims of terror attacks. And yeah, this is a very, very important cemetery, which I did not mention. That's true.
Yeah. Wendy,
Barbara, you wrote about the klezmer concert. Yes, there is the klezmer concert every year except of this year, and this is another main attraction in Zfat. Thousands of people participate and walk around and listen to the music. It's a very, very colorful, very beautiful event.
Yeah. Julia, Wendy inquired whether you were available to lead a Hadassah tour when they're next in Israel. I will send you her email information. But
sure, I will. Yeah, I will be very happy to lead Hadassah tour, and you guys, Sorrel. All right, there is another question. How all the artists in Stafford surviving without the tourists being there to buy their goods? Do you think most of them will still be there after COVID when their stores open up again? Well, this is a very good question, and I have no idea. It really, well, you know, the thing is that if you are unemployed, like myself, okay, so we get an unemployment money, but this unemployment money is always less than what you earned. And on top of that, I guess, okay, I don't know for sure, but I guess that most artists in Zfat, they did not write a receipt for every single purchase, which means that they did not declare all their income, and therefore the money they're getting now is much less comparing to what they used to earn. So I don't know. I believe that some of them will be back and others will not. It basically depends upon how much money they made before the pandemic and how long they can survive without making new money. I hope most of them will be back. What is the price to stay at Ruth Salad Hotel? Well, probably it was supposed to be Zfat. At Ruth Hotel, I don't know. Frankly, I never paid for it. I mean, I always stay there with tourists, and then, you know, I did not pay. It was up to the agent. So maybe Ilana knows. Otherwise, I can try. No, she doesn't. Okay.
Not
not right now. Well, I don't know. I can check with booking.com.
It's expensive.
I would call the hotel.
It's very expensive. If people want to go there, there are plenty of other places to stay that are a lot less.
I always suggest doing Airbnbs. That's what my family does. We'll get an Airbnb for a month, and it's so much cheaper than staying in a hotel.
There just are all kinds of little, just small little places that have one or two special rooms.
Yeah.
All through Zfat that are really, really nice, that are very reasonable.
And if you are interested in staying in Zfat, I do work for an Israeli travel agency. So I'm going to put my email address on the side, and I can get someone else to help you.
Okay. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I enjoyed the tour. So thank you for your company.